Hi, I'm Sherry. I'm an instructor with the Call Bible Training, and I just want to let each and every one of you students know how proud I am of you guys for answering the call, and also that you guys are so loved and you're so adored and you're so chosen by God. So just remember that you are chosen to do this ministry. So we're going to be talking about Matthew today, and he is the first chapter of the New Testament, and he brings the New and the Old Testament together, which is really cool when you read the book throughout, which you guys have to do anyway for this, and it starts all making sense how all the prophets, the prophecies come to pass with when Jesus is born. So that's really cool. So we are going to dive in. So here's a little bit about Matthew. So Matthew was written by the Apostle Matthew in approximately 37 AD. Matthew was one of the original 12 apostles. He was a Roman tax collector, so he wasn't really liked by a lot of the Jewish people. But he was called to follow Jesus, and he did. So, and that was in Matthew 9:9. So you guys can look that up if you want. He was the son of Abdias and the brother of James. Church history records show that for 15 years he preached in Judea, and then he went on to Ethiopia and the other lands, and he was not martyred for his faith. Matthew was primarily written for the Hebrews. 12 times he declared that the scriptures might be fulfilled. He talks about the situations and the events that proved that Jesus was the Messiah, the promised Messiah, and he would reign on the throne of David for all eternity. The four Gospels taken together give a picture of a complete picture of Jesus Christ. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit about the four Gospels. So the four Gospels, if you don't know what the Gospels means, it means that it's just the good news about Jesus Christ. And it's the story of Jesus. It's theological. It's not journalism. And they're not all in order. And then they're trying to teach people about God and his relationship with his people. The three Gospels is the message of Jesus, that he is Son of God, the baptism, his ministry, miracles, wisdom, justice, death, and resurrection. So let's touch on Matthew. The Gospel of Matthew, he just portrays that Jesus is King of the Jews. He emphasizes the teaching of Jesus, and Jesus fills the word and the law and the prophets. Mark's Gospel was aided by Peter, so he took notes from Peter. He wasn't a close follower of Jesus. So he was also probably the first missionaries there was, Mark was. And so he takes all the notes from Peter and he turns it into the book of Mark. So Mark also, he talks about Jesus' suffering. He was a suffering servant. He shows the authority that Jesus has. The whole book is a declaration of Jesus. Works, and probably a source for Matthew and Luke. So Luke's was a physician, and he was aided by Paul, so he took notes from Paul. He interviewed others, and he touches on the Savior for all, educational seeking details of Jesus, Luke's ministry, in order, and Luke is the longest gospel, where Mark is the shortest gospel. Mark was meant to be memorized, so that's something that's different in Luke and Mark. And John was an apostle, and he taught on that Jesus was God. Written and expired beliefs, written long after the other gospels. Mostly unique content, which you're not going to find in the other three. Focused on signs and statements. In John's gospel, there was stuff that you cannot find in the other gospels, so his was very unique. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more of Matthew. So that was the end of that.